Hello and welcome to Lovely English Stories. Thank you for stopping by. This story is written for intermediate English learners. Ready? Let's get started. B1, B2 English story. An evening walk. One of my favourite things to do is to get out into the countryside and escape from my busy life. I have a stressful job, and sometimes the best thing for me to do is to put on my trainers and go for a long, early evening walk. This week has been particularly busy. Each day has morphed into the next, and I feel like I haven't had a minute to myself. This evening, I decided to chuck on my old walking boots and drive out to one of my favourite country villages. I parked up my car, got my bag, which was full of snacks and drinks, out of the boot, and started on a lovely summer evening stroll. The walk is around 8 kilometres in total, and the perfect length to walk off the stresses of the week. I start by walking through a small football field which is adjacent to the village cricket club. I could hear the players practising ahead of a game at the weekend. Then I have to go through a little gate and walk down a country lane to get to the fields. The houses on this particular country lane are stunning. They're all turn-of-the-century stone cottages that overlook a small hamlet. I'd love to live in one of those houses. As soon as I get to the bottom of the lane, I always take a left. It looks like it's private land, but it isn't. It's a public footpath. Then I follow the winding path all the way to the next village. It's a stunning walk. It takes me through woodland and up and down fields. I love to see what the farmers are growing. Along the route, I pass a field that is home to some ponies. They're beautiful creatures. I always give them a stroke and say hello as I pass. In another field, I see about 20 cows. I kept looking up at the clear blue sky and smiling at the beautiful birds that hovered and swooped above the fields, looking for worms and grubs to eat. One of my favourite things about this walk is passing other walkers or runners along the way. I often make friends with a few dogs and have some polite chit-chat with people passing by. It's a fantastic way to find out the local gossip or when village events or parties are happening. Then, when I'm almost at the next village, I always turn around and take in the beautiful scene before me. I love to see the church spire of the village I've just left, with the stunning little cottages surrounding it. It looks the most beautiful at sunset in winter, when people have their Christmas trees twinkling in their windows. There's something incredibly magical about it. Today it was a muggy summer day, so there were no fairy lights to be seen. Instead, I watched the planes soaring high overhead and spotted a hot air balloon in the distance. Tonight, I decided to take a seat under a beautiful oak tree and have a drink of water. I sat for about 10 minutes, enjoying the shade and the fresh air. When I sit there, I always imagine what life would have been like back in the day when there were no cars or electricity and life was simpler. The people who lived in these small villages would have walked miles to work and often lived in very cramped conditions. In some ways, their lives were simpler, but they lived a hard life. On the final part of my walk, I go through a small woodland that leads me to the smaller of the two villages. Once at the village, I always enjoy a cup of tea and a small snack at a beautiful cafe. The staff are friendly and open to chat. As it was a little later in the day than when I usually go, the shops were shutting up, so I couldn't have a nosy. I made my way back and took a different path to my car, which follows a small stream. I love to hear the water trickling downstream. I saw some tiny fish, a heron, and some swans. I also scared a couple of rabbits as they sniffed around for food near the blackberry bushes. At the end of my walk, I chatted to a young couple who had a very excitable puppy. They have just moved to the village. I wished them well and was secretly very envious. During the last part of the long evening walk, I breathed in the scented air and listened to the sounds of the tractors in the fields. One day, I hope this long walk will be a shorter one, as I'll be a resident of the beautiful countryside village. Now let's go through some of the vocabulary from the story. Gossip. Gossip. Gossip is conversation or reports about other people's private lives. Lane. Lane. A lane is a narrow road in a country or town. Overlook. To overlook. To overlook is to have or give a view of something from above. Resident. Resident. A resident is a person who lives or has their home in a certain place. Stroke. To stroke. To stroke is to move your hand or an object gently over something, usually repeatedly. Stunning. Stunning. If someone or something is stunning, then they are extremely beautiful or attractive. Worm. Worm. A worm is a small animal with a long, narrow, soft body, without arms, legs, or bones. Pony. Pony. A pony is a small type of horse. Soaring. Soaring. If something is soaring, it is rising high in the air while flying, without moving its wings or using any power. Stroll. To stroll. To stroll is to walk in a slow or relaxed way. Adjacent. Adjacent. If something is adjacent, it is very near, next to, or touching. Nosy. Nosy. If someone is nosy, they are too interested in what other people are doing and are wanting to discover too much about them. We hope you enjoyed this lovely English story and the vocabulary explanations. Thank you for stopping by. Get productive and check out our language learning productivity packs and stories on Etsy. Use code YouTube10 for 10% off. You can find the link in the description box below. See you soon!